I mean, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who says, I told you so. But who am I kidding? Of course I want to be that guy. Like, who doesn't want to be that guy? So, I told you so. As you could have seen in the Campfire chat last week, where the sorcerer plays level 1 Abattoir of ZIR and then level 10 Abattoir of ZIR, the hardest wall in AoZ is the damage. Like, he struggled with damage a lot. So as I said in my previous video, we definitely want to go full on damage, obviously with some balance of survivability, but yeah, we don't want to be skipping on any damage from the Paragon board and from our vampiric powers. Maybe we even want to skip Doomringer for more damage. And again, as I said in my previous videos, like all of this, like even more implies that the S+, S++ tier build for Rogue in Abattoir of ZIR is not Twisting Blades, but it is Penetrating Shot. Yes, you've heard me. Thanks to the bug of Thibault's Will plus Condemnation, Penshot is the top contender for AoZ. So I have done a lot of changes to my build planner, or more like I added a lot of builds based on your maybe available gear, based on what maybe little changes the actual gameplay still brings, so that you have a lot of builds to choose from. Also, I made a lot of builds because, well, not everybody wants to play Penshot. Somebody wants to play Rapid Fire, somebody wants to play Twisting Blades, somebody has no Ubers, somebody wants to play a dual core with Penshot and Rapid Fire, which is definitely possible and also might be the way. Like, we don't actually get an endgame boss. What we get are 3 beefy elites, 3 beefy Bloodseekers. So that means even the boss is an AoE fight, meaning that Penshot is very, very strong and might be the only core that we use. But in case we really need priority damage, then dual core setup is very strong as well. And that's why, and this is the huge overhaul to my builds in general, I made an account on Maxroll, finally, so that now you can see I'm the author of the builds. And now there is just one link for everything. It will never change, not even in like season 3. It will always be the same link, and whatever change I make to any of my builds, be it an item, be it a Paragon board, you know, setup, glyph, whatever, it will always change without changing the link. So there will no longer be like 900 builds that I make on a whim, but there will be just one planner. Here you can see there's a scroll up, and here you can choose whatever it is you want to apply. As you can see, all of them are for AoZ because that's the endgame content that matters right now, and they are all so strong that they can destroy all of the Uber bosses that we have available right now, as well as T100. So you don't have to worry about, you know, maybe you are a person who wants to play just T100, okay, and not an actual Abattoir of ZIR. You don't have to worry. Just use this and it will work. And if you decide to actually try AoZ, well, you'll be ready. You'll be ready for it. The only difference between the Abattoir of ZIR build and a normal build is that you cannot use the Tears of Blood glyph in the cheap shot board, and you will just slot in versatility. So yeah, let's get right into it. As you can see, or like back to it, as you can see, there is many builds. Like here's Twisting Blades with Doomringer, Twisting Blades with Penitent Greaves and Doomringer, because Penitent Greaves will give us more damage, right? Twisting Blades without Penitent Greaves, Twisting Blades with Penitent Greaves and without Doom, thus going for even more damage. Twisting Blades with no Ubers and going for armor cap without Disobedience. You can have the armor cap for AoZ and T100s at all times, you know, because you get the total armor on your Shaco. And then there's Penshot plus Frostburn, Penshot, and, you know, many other builds. So you have a lot to choose from. my top contender is definitely Penshot, okay? I'm 100% sure, or like 99.9999999% that it's gonna be the strongest build for Rogue in Abattoir of ZIR, and I have many variations here. Frostburn, like what I'm gonna try or what I'm gonna play at first is probably gonna be the Penshot plus Frostburn plus Exploit and Domination Vampiric Power over Prey on the Weak. Okay, as you can see, everything changes, including the Vampiric Power. So here's the Domination for instant killing injured non-elite monsters and doing more damage to frozen monsters, which works extremely well with Frostburn. And Penshot, because one Penshot, thanks to Thibault's Willbug, will freeze everything and anything it hits. Okay, so this is my top contender for the early levels. I'm not using Doom either. I'm just going for pure damage, okay? So I just one-shot everything and just storm through the levels. Once I hit a survivability wall, here you can see Doom build. The only thing that changed is the Doom Ringer here, okay? And maybe we get to a point where stuff doesn't die within the 3 seconds of exploit, so you can go further up. Okay, you can go further up. Just AoZ plus Frostburn. Okay, back to Prey on the Weak, etc. So like I got you covered till the season ends. Whatever it is you have, whatever it is you wanna play, I have it. I made it. It's ready. So because I already made a video explaining the Paragon board, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same thing that we already covered. Not much has changed. Like as I said, pretty much the same stuff, apart from adding a lot of new builds. As you can see, the Paragon board changes as well based on whatever it is you choose. So I will not spend another 20 or 30 minutes explaining the Paragon board. Like I'll just generally say it's the Paragon board going for the highest damage as Rogue, as Poison Rogue in the world. Like just damage, damage, damage. Okay, combined with enough survivability. Okay. So that's it for how you can browse through my builds and what they actually offer. And because yeah, I already made the build guide for the gear, for the aspects and affixes, etc. Plus it's really easy to just browse through, right? Without me explaining it, and most of the aspects and everything is still the same over and over and over again. I'm sorry. So instead, in this video, apart from what I already said, let's look at some very important questions that a lot of people have. The first question that I get a lot is, why Shadow Imbuement? Why Smoke Grenade? Or why Poison Trap? Okay, like a lot of people ask this. Well, I have said so in a lot of my videos previously. These three skills are very much a flex point. Okay, so like you can use whatever it is you want. For Shadow Imbuement, the benefit is definitely playing on a controller. It doesn't require you to aim. You will always hit it. It will also guarantee, especially with the Twisting Blades build and the Rapid Fire build that might not have 100% uptime on the Poison Imbuement, which Penshot has because it always spawns Bursting Venoms in AoE. Okay, so in like Twisting Blades or Rapid Fire builds, Shadow Imbuement gains the benefit of having precision imbuement uptime of 100% or very close to 100%. It also benefits from the glyph Canny, as you can see Canny here. Non-physical damage increase, and non-physical damage increases all the non-physical damage an enemy takes from you. So that's a huge advantage of Shadow Imbuement, for example. Plus it increases the non-physical damage the enemy takes by 12% multiplicative. It also gives us 15% increased crit strike chance against injured enemies, and who knows, maybe like once we reach very high levels of AoZ, the monsters will live for a very long time and they will be very beefy. Okay, so that means that this will be up for quite a long time. So that's definitely good because crit strike chance is one of our best, if not the best stats, period. Okay, then you can have Poison Trap, right? Because Poison Trap gives you more poison to proc Bursting Venoms explosions. It gives you knock, but that's actually, like, the knockdown is actually a negative, okay? And let me explain, because in a lot of the builds we are playing Shared Misery because we want to spread the Daze effect, so that especially with like the Twisting Blades build, we want to spread the Daze effect on everyone, because when the enemies are dazed, even the ranged, they will literally like walk towards you, okay? So they will all stack in one place, so that you can AoE them down. But if you use Poison Trap and then knock them down and then spread it, they will still be spread, right? So you are actually losing damage by using Poison Trap when also using Shared Misery. If you're not using Shared Misery and you are running like Penitent Griefs, then it's a very good skill to pick. And then I would recommend taking Countering Poison Trap to have the highest possible uptime on Poison Imbuement. And then we have Smoke Grenade, again, a great skill. It dazes enemies. You can daze enemies in the back, in front of you, whatever. It makes them take a lot of increased damage from us. All the damage, not just physical damage. 25% multiplicative, actually. And then countering Smoke Grenade makes it so that you reduce its cooldown quite a lot. So you have it up a lot. But the reason why I personally don't use it as much is because all of these like targeted spells on a controller are pretty cringe. Like, many times I actually fought a huge pack of enemies in T100, okay? I shoot the grenade, and instead of shooting the pack of enemies in front of me, the smoke grenade hit like a barrel in the corner of the screen, or like a gate, you know, in the corner of the screen, and stuff like that, completely ignoring the enemies right in front of me. So unfortunately, on a controller, the AI in Diablo 4 is pretty damn bad. Okay, so that's it for this flex point. Then another question I get a lot is, let me see, do I want to play Prey on the Weak or not? Or do I want to play Exploit? Okay, so I kind of touched on it previously, and Prey on the Weak, like, you would not pick it if the enemies die within like 3 seconds, okay? Because you have your exploit glyph. So if you kill them within that window, then it's better to take Hectic instead of Prey on the Weak, okay? To reduce your cooldowns and thus do more damage, because you have higher uptime on all of your imbuements. You can dash more frequently. You have a lower cooldown on your Shadow Step, okay? So that you can jump more frequently and thus have 100% uptime on your Tybalt's Will, etc. You can also, instead of Prey on the Weak, go for Resilience to have even more damage reduction in case that survivability is the issue. So this answers another question. For the other question, we have another Vampiric Power question, and that is Accursed Touch or Metamorphosis. Okay, so here's the thing. Metamorphosis is really good if you want, if like your goal is to have 100% uptime on Unstoppable and Tybalt's Will without like risking not having Unstoppable during the fight, right? Because if you don't have Metamorphosis and you use Shadow Steps like I do, and that means on cooldown, so that I have the high uptime on Tibalt's Will, okay, then you might reach a point where you get CC'd by the enemy and, well, you don't have your Shadow Step. With Metamorphosis, you completely negate this problem, but then comes another problem. If you are playing Twisting Blades, or if you are playing Frostburn on the Penshot, the enemies are very likely not gonna be moving. With Twisting Blades, you are literally in their faces, okay? So they are not moving, thus they would not proc the Flowing Veins unless you curse them, which of course you can do with Metamorphosis, okay? Whenever you evade through the enemy, they get cursed, but then it's actually a DPS loss and survivability loss as well, because if you use your evade to spread the curse, then you lose one of your defensives to actually evade stuff. Metamorphosis actually makes you untargetable. So unlike normal evade, you cannot use your poison imbuements in the evading animation, which normally you could, so that like while you are evading, you can already prepare your poison imbuement for the fight. And it's a DPS loss, because if you use Accursed, then you like immediately start damaging the enemy, it immediately becomes cursed, and immediately starts getting the damage increase from Flowing Veins. But if you have to actually evade to apply it and then you start the damage, well, by then the person playing Accursed Touch already killed the enemy, okay? Because, yeah, you wasted the time on applying it with an evade. So, like, these are the like it's really hard to say this one is best in slot, okay? Because some people might go for Accursed, some might go for Meta. I think both are great, with Accursed being more damage, and definitely the better pick for like super higher tiers of AoZ, because if the monsters are extremely tanky, if they have extreme amounts of HP and we actually fight them for very long periods of time, then Accursed Touch combined with Prey on the Weak means AoE never ending vulnerable, okay? And it like, sure, Prey on the Weak is bugged a little, okay? Instead of 16% multiplicative damage, it gives us 16% additive damage. But it's still a 16% additive damage. Plus, by making all of the enemies in AoE vulnerable, we benefit from the base 20% multiplicative vulnerable damage increase, okay? So it's extremely strong combination, and if we cannot kill enemies like fast enough in exploit windows, etc., then Accursed Touch with Prey on the Weak are definitely gonna be the best in slot, in my opinion, okay? Then another questions that I get, a lot of the questions are about what to do when I have no Shaco, okay? What to do when I have no Doomringer, like no Uber Uniques in general. So there is a build. I only made it for Twisting Blades, okay? But you can apply it to any other build within the builder. You just create your own Shaco. You just use a helmet with cooldown reduction, 4 ranks of poison imbuement, max life, and then you either have an option: total armor, which will let you reach the armor cap for AoZ with an elixir. Okay, you need to use an elixir as well for it, without using Disobedience. So once you use total armor on your helmet, you don't need Disobedience, as long as your gear is good and your rolls are, good enough and not just like the lowest in the game. You can reach 13,750 is the new cap for AoZ, without using Disobedience, which opens, one slot for example, cheats aspect, okay? Which, again, if you use Shadow Imbuement and Twisting Blades, will gonna be just dazed, but like all of the enemies will be dazed thanks to Shared Misery, okay? So, and they will be slow thanks to Puncture, etc. So you can have like extra DR from CC'd enemies, or you can use many other aspects that benefit you in some way or another. So this is the helmet that you can choose. If you want to keep using Disobedience and you want to go for more damage instead, then instead of total armor, what you go for is basic skill attack speed. Basic skill attack speed will mean that you attack faster with your basics, which means that you will faster get your combo points from Tybalt's Will and Condemnation back, meaning you will sooner do that insane damage, okay? And for the weapon, if you don't have the Doomringer, well, all you gotta do is use 4/4 best in slot weapon or Ashiras and you are pretty much set, okay? So you don't have to worry about not having your Ubers. They will definitely come, fingers crossed. They will definitely come sooner or later. But till then, the builds work. And especially with the ranged builds, if you don't have the Uber uniques, you don't have to worry as much. Because with ranged builds, you are, well, actually, in range. You don't get hit as much and you can kite around the enemies. So not having Doomringer, for example, like, you don't even feel it as much, okay? So I definitely recommend trying out and playing ranged builds, because not only they are probably stronger thanks to the buck, but they are also safer to play. As I already told you, my top contender is Penetrating Shot, probably with Frostburn and Frigid Finesse, because everything will be frozen at all times. So, you know, points in Frigid Finesse and on your amulet, and points in Frigid Finesse in your build will give you 60% multiplicative damage against frozen enemies. Combine it with Noxious Eyes and you have another 29% increased poison damage to frozen enemies multiplicatively. So that's a lot of damage, and I mean like a lot of damage. Also, for Penshot builds, we are running mixed poison imbuement, okay? The reasoning for that is, like, Tybalt's Will, Rapid Fire as well, because the actual skill deals insane amounts of damage, then blended poison imbuement is definitely better, okay? But for for Penshot build, the mixed poison imbuement is extremely valuable, because the buck makes us proc everything at all times, okay? Once you get your combo points, all of the lucky hits, apart from like the super low ones, like based on your rolls, apart from maybe Bursting Venoms and the Doombringer, because the Doombringer heal for example is just 5%, like all the other will be, you know, proccing non-stop 10 out of 10 times. But personally I tested Penetrating Shot without Cunning Strategem, okay, and I have, without any buffs or elixirs or whatever, 327 lucky hit. I hit the target dummy 20 times. 20 times in a row, without an exception, without a single exception, I procced Bursting Venoms. So I personally think that Cunning Strategem, if you have, you know, good enough resource roll on your Tybalt's Will, is actually a DPS loss, like a huge DPS loss to play Cunning Strategem, because everything already procs even without it, so it's better to take another glyph for damage. But in case your resource on Tybalt's Will is low, well, I have, you know, Cunning Strategem as well. You can find it here. Frostburn plus Cunning Strategem and Doomringer. Penshot plus Frostburn plus Cunning Strategem without the Doomringer. Like, if it doesn't say Doom, then it's without the Doomringer, right? So here you can see the board with Cunning Strategem. So yeah, but once again, I think, and that's what I'm starting the game with, Exploit in the Tricks of the Trade here instead of Cunning Strategem, and Domination Vampiric Power is gonna be the play, at least till we reach a survivability wall, okay? Because this is a lot of damage, like an insane amount of damage. So I hope I covered it all. all the questions that a lot of people ask, you know, explained all of my builds. If there's any build you are maybe excited about, you want me to make or you want me to test, though I tested so many builds now that I'm pretty much aspect starved, then yeah, let me know. Let me know if it works, if it's really, really good. I can, you know, I can add it to these builds, and yeah, share it with the community. So this is it for the update to the Abattoir of ZIR. I hope you are as excited as I am, because oh my god, finally an endgame content with, you could say, unlimited difficulty. I mean, Blizzard kinda said that no one should be able to reach level 25, but at the same time, supposedly in the in the level 25 AoZ, the monsters will be 10 times the HP of what they are in T100. And just 10 times, okay? We will completely, this is probably wrong, yeah. Like on the max roll builder, it shows over 4,000 increased multiplicative damage. But I think it's actually gonna be only like 1,000 and a little bit, okay? Because they are multiplying it by simply too much, okay? Like 0.4, but it's actually gonna be 0.1. So, like, if we get 1,000 increased multiplicative damage, then yeah, we literally negated the 10 times higher HP of the mobs. They will literally be the same power in terms of tankiness as they are in T100, and once again we will be instant killing them. Especially, like, I'm telling you, this build is gonna be the GOAT of Season 2 Abattoir of ZIR. Like, I got all the damage you can possibly get while still keeping the like armor, you know, armor cap, resistance cap, etc. But unlike many other builds, I am not skipping on these damage to crowd controls, you know, on this rare node oppress, which a lot of the other builds are. Like, I'm going, as I said, damage, damage, and even more damage. Devious in the first board to boost the damage nodes, you know. Like, this is full damage, baby. Like, full damage, and yeah, I'm so excited to take it into AoZ for real. Um, Once again, I'll just repeat once again, because I don't think I spend enough time on it. Like, as I just mentioned, the armor cap, okay, the armor cap is no longer 18.6 thousand, which is what we thought it would be in AoZ, because Blizzard said that each level of AoZ will equal to 3 levels of Nightmare Dungeon. So with 25 levels, we thought that, you know, it's gonna be like T175 mobs in the AoZ, which would mean they would be almost 230 level, I think, like that, 229. That would be their level. So that was the armor. That was the armor that was calculated to be the armor cap. But in the Campfire chat, you could have seen that in level AoZ 1, the level of enemies jumped by 1, so they were 155. And in AoZ 10, they were only 157. What that means is that, well, pretty much every 5 levels there is 1 level increase, with the first level of AoZ also giving 1 level increase. So the monsters in AoZ 25 will be only level 160, and that's why the armor cap pretty much did not increase, or increased just by a few hundreds over what it was in T100. So yeah, that's why we can go for even more damage, baby. And that's what we like. Damage, 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 huge numbers, and instant killing. Everything. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya in the next one.